Bruce Lee was asked how many fights have you won, by Tyson. His list left Mike speechless for the answer that silenced the world. The ring was empty, but the weight of the question hung in the air like a punch suspended in time. Mike Tyson, then at the height of his ferocity, faced Bruce Lee with an expression that mixed defiance and genuine curiosity. How many fights have you won, Bruce? The question was not innocent. Tyson, the man who broke bones before the first round, wanted to measure the myth. I wanted to know if the Chinese dragon was made of flesh and blood or of legends. Bruce Lee didn't hesitate. With the same precision as a perfect blow, he replied. I don't count my victories. I count the times I got up after falling. Tyson frowned. That wasn't an answer. It was a provocation. A man like him, who lived to crush opponents, didn't understand what it meant not to count. But Bruce continued, his voice calm, almost a whisper that cut deeper than any scream. In 1958, I lost to Gary Elms in the Hong Kong Boxing Championships. I was 17 years old, and he knocked me out in the second round. It was the first time anyone had knocked me down. I cried in the locker room. Not from pain, but from shame. I thought about giving up. But the next day, I went back to the gym. And the next. And the next. Until a year later, I beat him. Not once, but 3 times. Tyson crossed his arms impatiently. This is just a fight. What about the others? Bruce smiled, as if he had been waiting for that interruption. In 1964, I faced Wong Jackman, a traditional kung fu master, who challenged me because he didn't like the way I taught martial arts to Westerners. The fight lasted 3 minutes. Or 20. No one knows for sure. I bled, he bled. In the end, there was no declared winner. But I gained something more important, the certainty that my path was right. He never challenged me again. And then? Tyson pressed, voice hoarse. In 1967, a karate fighter named Vic Moore challenged me in Seattle. He was bigger, stronger, and had an impressive winning record. I defeated him in less than a minute. But it wasn't a clean victory. He hit me with a spinning kick that almost broke my rib. I finished the fight limping. In the locker room, he came to apologize. He said he didn't know I was so fast. I laughed and said, neither did I. Tyson shook his head in disbelief. You're talking about fights that no one has ever heard of. What about the big names? The champions? Bruce approached, his dark eyes shining with an intensity that made even Tyson take a step back. In 1970, Chuck Norris and I trained together for months. He was the world karate champion, I was just a kung fu teacher with a dream. One day, after an exhausting session, he challenged me to sparring. I knocked him down 3 times. The 4th time, he hit me with a punch that sent me against the wall. I fell to my knees, dizzy. He reached out and helped me up. You're so fucking fast, Bruce, he said. But I'm stronger. I replied, and I'm more stubborn. Tyson let out a short, almost involuntary laugh. So you're saying you never lost? Bruce laughed, a light, almost musical sound. I lost more than you know. I lost to my own limits. I lost to fear. I lost to arrogance. I lost to life, which took things from me that I will never get back. But I never lost to a man who wasn't willing to get up after falling. The silence that followed was deafening. Tyson looked at his hands, calloused from years of violence, and for the first time in a long time, he felt small. Not out of fear, but out of a sudden realization, he had always measured his greatness by the number of bodies on the ground. Bruce Lee, on the other hand, measured his success by the number of times he had risen up again. So, how many fights did you win? Tyson asked again, but now his voice held no challenge. There was something new there. Respect. Bruce looked at him for a long moment, as if assessing whether Tyson deserved the truth. All the ones that mattered. And with that, he turned and left the ring, leaving behind a champion who, for the first time in his life, understood that true victory was not about never falling. It was always about getting up. Final chapter, the last round. Tyson remained motionless in the center of the ring, the echo of Bruce Lee's words reverberating in his mind like a punch that hit not the body, but the soul. The gym, once packed with bloodthirsty spectators, was now empty except for an elderly man sweeping the floor with slow, precise movements. The old man stopped for a moment, watching Tyson with eyes that had seen dozens of fighters enter and leave that place, some victorious, others broken, most forgotten. "Are you going to stand there until the sun comes up, boy?" the old man asked, his voice hoarse with age. "Or are you going to do something with this lesson they gave you?" Tyson didn't respond. He just came down from the ring, his steps heavy as if he was carrying the weight of all the fights he had already won. Outside, the city of Las Vegas glowed with artificial lights, oblivious to the crisis unfolding within. He walked aimlessly through the streets, his fists still clenched, but now without the fury from before. At some point, he stopped in front of a rundown boxing gym. The walls were peeling and the smell of old sweat permeated the air. Through the dirty window, he saw a boy, no more than 16, training alone, punching a punching bag with a rage that Tyson recognized as his own from years ago. He entered without thinking. The boy stopped, surprised, and stared at him with a mixture of admiration and challenge. "You're Tyson, right?" the boy said, his voice shaking. "I saw you fight. You never lose." Tyson looked at the boy, at his eyes hungry for glory, at his hands already marked by the first calluses. And then, without warning, he grabbed the boy's gloves and threw them on the floor. "Wrong. I've already lost. And you'll lose too, if you continue like this." The boy frowned, confused. "What are you talking about?" "To win." Tyson approached, his voice low, almost a whisper. "You think that winning is never falling. But the truth is that you will fall. Everyone falls. The question is what you do afterwards." The boy didn't understand. Tyson didn't expect him to understand. Not at that moment. But something in his gaze changed, a shadow of doubt, perhaps, or the beginning of a question he didn't yet know how to formulate. "Train yourself to get up, kid. The rest is just noise." And he left, leaving the boy alone with the punching bag and a new silence, full of possibilities. 2 years later. Madison Square Garden was packed. The audience screamed, the cameras flashed, and in the center of the ring, under the blinding lights, 2 fighters faced each other. One of them was the faded academy boy, now older, stronger, with scars that told stories. The other was an undefeated champion, a man who, like Tyson once, measured his greatness by the number of opponents on the ground. The bell rang. The fight began. And when the boy fell for the 3rd time, the audience erupted in boos. But he got up. And when he fell again, he got up more slowly. And when the judge stopped the fight, declaring him defeated, he didn't lower his head. He just looked at the stands, looking for someone. Tyson was there, in the darkest corner of the gym, watching. He didn't applaud. He didn't smile. He just nodded, once, as if to say, "Now you understand." The boy walked out of the ring, his eyes burning not with defeat, but with something deeper. And as he walked down the dark hallway, he heard footsteps behind him. "You fought well," Tyson said, emerging from the shadows. The boy stopped. "I lost." "No," Tyson put his hand on his shoulder. "You won the only fight that matters." And for the first time in years, Tyson smiled. Not the smile of a champion, but that of a man who had finally found something greater than victory. "Come on. There's a ring waiting for us." And the two disappeared into the darkness, together.